Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is Influencer Empires, where we talk to the biggest influencers on the planet. And today, a rising superstar who's rocketed to superstardom in the last 2 years with the advent of AI. This gentleman has a wealth of experience going all the way back online with multiple companies created. He holds a business and accounting degree and is one of the premier AI influencers in the world. He has over 50,000 followers on Instagram alone, but his biggest audience comes from his Facebook group, which is called AI Prompts for Entrepreneurs. He is the legendary founder of Whitebeard Strategies, the one and only Jonathan Mast. Jonathan, thank you so much for jumping on with us.
Well, thank you. I'm honored. I certainly can't live up to all of that, but thank you.
I think it's only a drop in the bucket, man. I'm seeing incredible things there. So this race to stardom has happened with your passion for AI as you've just got involved and
It
become a
has.
teacher. People have just come along with you. Has it surprised you how quickly this has happened?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, it's fit my goal, my objective, but yeah, and which was really just I wanted to help people not be fearful of AI. And
Right.
so I've been thrilled, but yeah, I had no idea that, I'd have 500,000 people a day that we reach out to and talk about AI after not even 2 years yet. It just blows my mind.
Amazing. How has that changed things for you? That sheer size of that audience that are communicating with you and connecting with you daily. What's happened in your family home that's changed as a result?
Well, I get to now do what I love, which is teach and share, be a content creator. I love that part of it. And I'm blessed to be able to surrounded by an amazing team. I've got 9 people on my team. And probably the biggest change it's made for me is that I don't respond to email any longer. Not that I
Wow.
ignore it, but my admin I finally figured out a way that I probably deal with 4 or 5 emails a day. The rest of everything
Amazing.
gets taken care of by my team. And it's huge kudos to them. And it took me a while to just go, I don't need to be the one to respond to 90% of these. I didn't realize it was 99% of them.
Wow, that's so cool. And I'm guessing just that freedom that's been created as a result of that
Huge.
changed the
Yeah.
life massively. So I do have to give a shout out to your team as well. I've attended some of your trainings as we talked about just before we clicked on the
Mhm.
record. And the way that you train is just masterful. And I absolutely love the structure that you have there. But of course, your team's right there in the room with you, helping out and bringing you things. And I love the fact that your team are jumping in on your trainings, going, Jonathan, I found that out for you. Here's the answer. And they're racing as you're doing your thing. So yeah, huge shout out to the team there.
We've got
Amazing,
an amazing team. Yeah, really
amazing
amazing
crew.
team.
So when I asked you about that audience size and the speed, you said something there which I'll just dive into. You said it aligns with my goals. What was the goal there for you to work in this space?
Really, two things. So, short backstory. I'm an ADD entrepreneur. Used to run a digital marketing agency. It grew that and went well. But after almost 14 years, I was getting a little bit bored and my entrepreneurial juices were kicking in. I'm like, I need something new to do. I wasn't as excited. And ChatGPT put an interface on AI that made it accessible. And all of a sudden, it was like, holy cow, I can get lots of stuff done because it works with my ADD brain. The other thing that I noticed that was cool, but what I noticed was that most of my team at the time, they were in a very different mode. They were in the, uh-oh, this is going to take my job. And I fundamentally don't believe that's the case for most people. Will AI displace some? Yes, every new technology displaces some. But unlike a lot of my peers who I respect, I don't believe it's going to take away a gazillion jobs. We may see a gazillion people move into new jobs, take on new opportunities, things we haven't even seen, but we're not going to be destitute, sitting by the side of the road, have no idea how to make any money and where our next food's coming from because of AI. It's just not going to happen. And I wanted to help people, both business leaders who I work with regularly, but also their teams embrace AI because at the fundamental core, I believe AI amplifies our skill and experience. And the only way AI doesn't add value to your life is if you stick your head in the sand and act like an ostrich. There will be people that do that, but that's not going to be the most majority of people.
I'm seeing the impact of that. So I have two school-aged children, and I think when AI first came out, they're very much rule followers. That's probably the cadence of their upbringing. But when AI first came out, they were no, 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 that's Dad, that's cheating. And now the school teachers themselves in such a short amount of time, curriculums have changed, and they brought AI in.
Yes.
They're helping students to achieve that. I think we saw a digital generation, you and I, as the first generation started to interact with tablets and influencers and content on demand, and we see that happen from such an early age. This next generation, or the current generation that's coming into the world now, are the first generation being born with AI. At their fingertips from the day that they're born. That's going to accelerate. This is an opinion, not a fact, but that's going to accelerate human thinking as
Oh,
we move forward. Do
absolutely.
do you agree?
100%. I think, there's so many things that AI does that are amazing, but one, when I think about our kids, what gets me so excited is the fact that no matter whether we're 2 years old or 102 years old, AI really levels the educational playing field because no longer does it matter which side of the tracks you live on because we've all got access one way or another to one of these, a smartphone. And if you've
Mm,
got access to this with AI, we can learn virtually anything that we want. And the really cool thing I like about it, I was one of those people that grew up in school to follow the rules, but I admit I didn't like school. It was boring. I wasn't interested in it. Well, with AI, I can now learn about things in a manner that interests me. And we've done this with my youngest son. He's 17 years old. He's in high school. He doesn't want to learn anything anymore. He's like, I'm done. But when we take his subjects and we teach him those subjects through the lens of things he's interested in, all of
mm.
a sudden those subjects come alive. And the neat thing is with I can literally go and say, I need to teach my son the following things about algebra that he doesn't care, or trigonometry, or history. But what he does care about is World War II battleships. I don't know why, that's his thing. And if we can do it through that context, all of a sudden he
Wow.
immerses himself in it and he
Wow.
loves it. And he doesn't even realize, I mean, he does, he's 17, but he doesn't realize at the moment that he's actually learning trigonometry because he's studying about warships that he thinks are really cool. And
That's so
yet
cool.
he's learning the skills. And that to me is what's so exciting because we all have different ways to learn. We all went through school and we know how school works, and I get it. They don't have a choice. We've all got to fit into a square mold, and for them to teach 30 kids how to do one thing. But generally, out of that 30 kids, 29 of us don't fit in that square mold. We just have to be forced into it. And AI, in my mind, now literally levels that playing field so that if Johnny wants to learn because he's interested in big trucks and that's how he's going to learn, and Sally wants to learn and she's interested in dolls, they can both learn addition, subtraction, division, you name it, English, any language by bringing it through the context of what they're interested in
That's
because AI
fascinating.
can pull all of that together.
That is absolutely fascinating. I just, we are amazed by live translation apps, right? So I speak in English and it comes out of the speakers
Hmm.
in Japanese or Spanish. Can you imagine when we get into a classroom and the teacher's delivering the lesson as per curriculum, but the children are hearing it as per their learning model? Can you imagine the live translation, not language to language, but understanding to understanding? Can you imagine when
Absolutely.
what an amazing world that will be when lifetime translation actually works in terms of learning models. So that could be in literal lifetime could translate a static textbook into World War II warship language of calculus. Amazing.
Yeah, and that's what's so exciting to me because we all like learning more when it's about a
Mm,
topic that we're interested in.
so
And
true.
if we can teach algebra or any topic for that matter through the lens of something that's relevant, now all of a sudden
Yeah,
that becomes interesting. I mean,
man,
imagine
that is
teaching world
fantastic.
history, which I didn't like, but through the context of music, which I loved. Now, if I
Wow,
learned that through the context, I could have learned world history in a way that maybe I would have remembered it and then
man,
that
that's
might have been
amazing.
more valuable.
That is absolutely incredible. So, Jonathan, one of the things you said was 500,000 people are
Yeah.
interacting with you every single day. And I see the sheer volume of content that you're creating. And I know that, you have the news reporter models and all of the
Hmm.
amazing GPTs that you make available. And guys, by the way, whitebeardstrategies.com is Jonathan's business front site. JonathanMast.com is a personal site. Whitebeard Strategies makes incredible GPTs available to everybody. There's a tiny subscription fee that you can get the latest GPTs. So there's really great ways that anyone can take advantage, I'm going to say, Jonathan, of your
Thank
learning
you.
in the AI space to come and actually, benefit from all the work that you're doing. So my question was going to be that I see the volume of content that you're putting out. Is that something that lights you up? Are you waking up every day going, content, 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 content? Is that a driver for you?
Not directly, but indirectly, and that's it. I've always been a learner, and AI lets me learn things at a rapid pace.
Mm,
And and I attribute part of this to being neurodiverse, having ADD, my brain works in a different way than most. So I make connections just like that sometimes other people don't. Sometimes they do. But I love sharing those news tidbits and those items and those lessons those aha moments that we have when we're like, oh my goodness. You mentioned, for example, you took a training that I just did on how to use Google's Notebook LM to
mm,
manage prompts.
amazing.
That I 2 months ago, I wasn't doing that.
Mm,
It was only about 4 weeks ago that I read something somewhere. I don't even remember where, and somebody just posited the question, could you do this? And it planted a seed. And over the course of the next a few hours, my subconscious was working through that. And I'm like, absolutely. Not only can you do this, this is a great idea. And I did some research and I couldn't find anybody talking about it. So I put together a system to do it and I taught it.
amazing.
And it works. And I
So,
love that. So I don't wake up thinking, what can I share today? But I love when I learn new things and I have new ideas.
mm,
Excuse me, got the hiccups. As I have those new ideas, I absolutely love sharing those ideas and watching people's, it's like the lights go on and you see that not only did I have an aha moment, but so did somebody else. And
yeah,
that's what's so rewarding for me.
that's crazy. And is it so you're learning, you're going. So what is a typical day for Jonathan Mast today?
um, I generally wake up around 6:30 in the morning, spend the first half hour of my day doing my devotion, stuff like that. And then pretty much as soon as that's done, I'm in my Facebook group, I'm reading news articles, I'm reading stuff. I love AI. Let me make no bones about it. I'm passionate about it. I'm enthralled with it. I love it. And so I just love seeing what's going on. And I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So I'm filtering things as an entrepreneur through how could I use this to either serve somebody better? How could I use this to provide more value to somebody? How could I use this to save time? Ultimately, those are all good because how can I use it to make some money in the process?
Right.
And, I love that whole process. To me, that's just exciting. And I get to do that all day long because I get to have ideas and then I get to share them. My business now isn't actually doing those things, which is good because I suck at operational stuff and making that happen, but I'm really good at ideas. And so I get to spend my day teaching people the ideas. And then if they're interested, they can run with them and go from there. And so, yeah, it's such a blessing to me because I get to do something that I love. But to be clear, I'm not waking up going, what content can I share?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
Just
am fortunate enough
happens
to
as you
be
go.
there and nobody wants to know what I had for lunch. I'm not going to talk. Nobody cares that I'm going out to have wings tonight for dinner. I won't share any of that information because I don't think my audience cares.
Mhm.
But if while we're sitting waiting for the hot wings to come tonight, I read something new about AI and it strikes me as a new way to do something, a better way to do something, that gets me excited and I love sharing that.
That's so cool. So you're jumping up. You're into the Facebook group, which is, as I said, incredible. The numbers there that are jumping in every day. We'll talk about that in just a second. You're reading articles and then you're disseminating that into. Great, this is amazing. Let me share that. So you a couple of hours worth of learning, a couple of hours worth of creating. Is that kind of the cadence that you're working
Yeah,
at?
I did. You didn't really finish my day, so I kick my off with my team every morning. We have a stand up. My team's based all around the world, so we have a stand up every morning. Kind of go through what's happening that day. I spend most of my time doing what I'm doing right here, which is sitting at my desk on a Zoom call, talking to different people, doing trainings, whatever the case may be, and then interspersed with that, it's ooh, hey, this new model just came out, or hey, there's a new tool that came out. A lot of it, believe it or not, is ignoring things that come up because,
Yeah, of
as you know,
course.
in the AI world, there's this flood of information, and most of it, very candidly, and I try to teach this to my students, most of it's just noise.
Hmm.
Most of it is not things we need to be worried about. And as a result, because of my goal of wanting to teach people how to use I try to be very practical, very, very basic when I speak. One of the things I always tell when you bring me to an event is I want people literally in the event, I want them pulling their phone out and starting to prompt things because that means I connected with them right there. I don't
Mm.
I don't care what AI is going to do in 3 months. We'll find out when we get there. I care about what can AI do right now, and I try to be really practical about it. Part of it's because that's my jam. That's what gets me excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, looking at these numbers, how many people are joining that group on a daily basis? Do you know roughly?
Depends. Most recent, we're running about 3,000 a week, 3,500 a week. Some
Wow,
of it
that's
depends on
spectacular.
Facebook's algorithm. We don't
Of
we
course.
don't pay to promote it. It's all organic. So
Mhm,
there are
mm.
times, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we had 15,000 people join in a week. And then
Wow.
after that, we had like 500 the week following. So it depends on who Facebook is suggesting us to. But on average, right now, we're right around 3 to 4,000 a week.
Fantastic, amazing. And are you active in the group personally, or is that the team
Yes.
managing that? Yeah, great.
My
So,
team does a few things in there, but I'm in there every day. It's if you see it posted by Jonathan Mast, it's me. It's not
wow,
my team. It's me.
it's not AI. It's Jonathan Mast,
Nope.
the human figure.
Yeah, we don't use any automations for posting in the
Yeah,
group or anything like that. One, Facebook doesn't want us to, but two, we don't. I believe, it's a social channel, and that means it'd be like if we were going to go to a cocktail party and I sent in, my assistant instead of me.
Tesla
You're not
Spotlight.
going to make that connection. I need to show up. I need to be there. I need to add value, or you're never going to make that connection with me, and that's what I want to happen.
Yeah, fascinating. I think there's a big move at the moment with AI generated content, and of course AI generated avatars, AI generated social
hmm
channels. Interesting to hear you say that it's the personal connection that keeps that glue, the group together. That's not something that is AI-able. It just doesn't have the same feel.
No, No, it doesn't. And it's just my belief. I mean, that's how I look at it. Do I use AI to help me write the
Of
content?
course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why
Absolutely.
wouldn't
I
you?
do 100%. I just wrapped up a training and we gave them a 16-page guide. It was on Midjourney. And somebody said, "Where'd this come from?" And I'm like, "I used Manus to create it this morning." I mean, I literally, and I don't walk, people are like, "Well, why would you admit that?" I'm like, "Well, why wouldn't I admit it? I had the idea. I knew what I wanted it to cover. I didn't want to do the heavy lifting to write the 16 pages. And what would have that normally involved years ago is I would have grabbed all the documentation, I would have read through all the documentation, I would have wrote everything out.
Yeah.
Instead, I went to Manus, which is an agentic AI, and I said, I need a guide, a mini guide. I want it to be about 10 pages long. Here's the three things I want it to cover. Here's a quick overview of the 2 hour course I'm giving. I want this to be a giveaway that I can give to everybody that adds value to them and teaches them these three things. That's literally pretty much what I typed.
That's
And I
great.
gave it a link to an FAQ or to a white paper that I would have normally had to research. About
Um,
45 minutes later, guess what? I had a 16-page document. It was incredibly well written. We proofed it in about 15 minutes. I changed a couple little things and it was done. Now I
Amazing.
get to add value to my audience. I get to leverage AI in a way, and I don't believe it took anything away from me because had I not thought, wow, this would be a really cool resource, if this would be helpful, it would have never got created.
Yeah.
In the past, I would have thought, boy, it'd be really cool to do that, but I don't have 4 hours to go write that 16-page document. I don't have anybody in my team that doesn't have 4 hours, so it's not going to get created. Now I can have the idea, and my time investment in that total was about 15 minutes, and it's
Amazing.
done.
And you've got the best, the most capable, the most wide-reaching research team at your fingertips via that AI. Then nothing changes.
Absolutely.
It's just accelerated. Like if you wanted to create that resource, I was talking to a colleague of mine a little while ago about this. It's not cheating in inverted commas. It's using a research team that is now AI powered rather than humans standing around a desk doing all of that research themselves. And they come up with the same conclusions. It's just assembling that data much, much quicker, which is incredible. So, Jonathan, across different platforms, so we talked about obviously the Facebook group being that
Mhm.
huge, huge, huge influx of people. You've got 50,000 people that are following your stories on Instagram. I think
Mhm.
there's 12, 15,000 on YouTube. You've got similar sort of numbers on LinkedIn. What's your strategy across those multiple platforms from getting that content out there?
Add value.
Yeah,
That's
great.
it.
Hmm.
I'd love to tell you it's perfectly planned. It's been incredibly strategic. This really just ended up with me following something that I learned really early in my career. I'm an old guy, and so when I got started in sales, I read a lot of Zig Ziglar books. And Zig Ziglar was known for one saying: "If you can help enough other people in life get what they want, you can have anything in life that you want." And to me, I translated that into add value.
Yeah.
And a mentor of mine shared with me, Jonathan, give away all the information and charge for the implementation. And I
Yep.
thought, I think that'll work. And so that's really what we've done. I don't hold anything back. If you want to know how to do something, if I've got the time, I'll show you. If not, I'll do a video about it and I'll put it up there. I'll give away all that. I don't care. And now I actually don't even, we don't do implementation anymore. Now we literally just do training and mentoring. And that's enough to keep me and 8 other people busy.
That's amazing. That's so cool. And again, I really take my hat off to you from your training methodology. One of the things that you've said there before, as you were referencing, having that ADD mindset and being able to move things around, and you mentioned there that of course you're an entrepreneur at heart. So
I
you're
am.
assembling that, and you're looking at how can I make money from this. So your training courses are simply one monetization method of this audience and this
Correct.
following that you've created. What's the main, or what are your thoughts about monetization of that audience and that following?
Well, again, I believe at my core it's got to be adding value. My
Mhm.
audience isn't going to part with their money if I'm not adding enough value.
Yeah.
So I listen, we ask a lot of questions, and then I love to teach, and so we then teach people how to do things that they want to learn. My if I have a skill there, and I've never thought of myself as a teacher, but I do love doing it, is I seem to be able to take relatively complex concepts and make them easy, especially
Mm.
when it relates to AI and technology. And that's at this point in time and this point in history is proving to be a valuable resource. And it's cool because, I get to live a great life. I get to do a lot of things. I work my tail off. I mean, anybody that thinks that, this is something that one does in a couple hours a day and then I get to drink mimosas is not living at least my life. I haven't figured out how to do
Sure.
that. But I have the flexibility to work anywhere in the world that I want. I just need an
Mm.
internet connection.
Yeah.
I have the flexibility to go and do things most anywhere that I want.
Amazing.
I'm excited because I just got Starlink and literally it just came in the box today and I'm going to hook it up because that means literally I can have 300 gigabit internet anywhere in the world that I have this little 12 by 12 receiver.
So
Well, that
good.
means I can be out in my camper. I could literally be out in the wilderness on my quads. I could be hiking. I could be on a boat. I could be anywhere. I just need to literally pull this out. It even comes with a backpack, and I've got 300 gigabit internet or megabit internet, I'm sorry, that I can download and I can be online just like I am here from anywhere
Amazing.
in the world. And my
I
goal,
want to see it.
hopefully, one of these days is to be sitting in some national park on the edge of some mountain doing this.
Wow.
Man, that would just be awesome.
Book in with us, man. Book in with me, and like let's run that from the top of a mountain
We'll do
somewhere.
that.
With you on a quad. I think that'd be fantastic. You just talk about the technology that's there behind it. So so you're creating amazing content and courses. That's your monetization, or one of the monetization methods,
Yeah,
through the audience. Where do you disseminate between free content and paid content?
my time. If
Okay.
you want to be taught by me to do it, then that costs more money. Now, I try to make it really affordable. I mean, the first course she took me, I think was $10. So I
Yeah.
don't make them, it's not like I'm charging thousands of dollars. But if you want me and my style and you want that live experience, that's really what we're selling is that live experience.
Mm.
I had somebody today, they said, well, this course coming up, I mean, isn't that kind of like one that I took a year ago? And I'm like, well, it's kind of like it, but a lot's changed in the last year. And he's
A
like, well,
year.
I
It's
don't
like
know.
10 years.
He's like, I don't know if I should pay the $10 for the new course. And I'm like, well, then don't. It's
Then
okay.
don't.
And I told him, and this is true, if the $10 is too much,
Yeah.
all of this information is on YouTube and in
Mm.
my Facebook group. You can go find it. And his
Beautiful.
response was, well, yeah, but I want you to teach it to me. And I'm go, that's why it cost you the $10.
Yeah, right.
And and that's just again, that's really where I draw the line. It's as simple as that. I
Mm.
can't, the one thing I can't scale that I do, Walt, is I can't scale my time.
Yeah.
I've only got 24 hours a day. I have to sleep a few of those. So I can't scale that.
Yeah.
So I give a lot away and I love doing one to many where like I can record a video and then 10, 20, 30,000 people can watch it and learn from it. That's cool. I love that. But if you want that live experience, then some people love it, some people don't. That's okay. I'm not a PowerPoint guy. You'll never see me delivering PowerPoint slides. It's not what I do. But if you like my style and it resonates with you, then great. You can join me and hopefully learn. And my goal is that you'll get 10 times the value out of that. And so far, so good. The response has been fantastic. We keep growing. So I guess
Something
something
must be
we're doing
right.
is working.
Somebody's loving it along the way. Roughly, how many people are you getting coming through one of those courses, Jonathan?
It depends on the course that we do. I think the one we had today, we had about 1,200 people in.
Yeah.
I've got one coming up next week that's a little more money. It's 97 bucks, and I'd have to look, but I want to say 400 probably.
Are you running one of those every week? Is there something in a paid format every week?
We
And
we do not every week. We try to do two what we call challenge trainings. Those are over 3 days, 2 hours a day over 3 days. We try to do two of those a month, and we try to do two what we call express trainings, which I did today. It's a simple 2 hour training on a very specific AI topic.
amazing. And that becomes evergreen content. People can come and purchase that
Yep.
course, next week, 2 months' time, and
Yeah,
go through
the
that.
replays are up and available, and that's probably the one thing that surprised me is I can't imagine why is anybody going to buy a replay of this fat white guy in a long beard talking, and it
Because it's
happens
Jonathan
every
Mast,
day.
man. Because it's Jonathan
Yeah,
Mast. Why wouldn't you want
yeah,
to have that?
whatever.
That's absolutely that's the
But
draw, man. You are the card.
it's to add value. If I can add value, then it's good. And I know if I cease to add value, then nobody's going to buy my stuff, and
Yeah.
that's okay because they shouldn't if I'm not adding value.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. So this rise to fame, digital marketing agency, millions of them in the world, one pebble on a beach, but
Very
becoming
true.
Jonathan Mast and creating this following that you now have with Whitebeard Strategies and the incredible content that you are producing. You're now speaking on stages. I know you're at Austin's event coming up really soon.
Yep.
You're now being invited onto different media forms to be able to share that. The difference in, I guess, public awareness of you and yourself has come as a direct result of your passion for a particular subject, and that's been brought through. Are you finding that the public uh, eye being on you has changed you and who you are fundamentally, in terms of the
No.
messages that you're putting out? It's just
No,
it's just more
I
people
hope
see you
not.
now.
I mean, that's yeah, I mean, I got recognized in an airport for the first time about a month ago, and I was like, oh crap.
Wow, cool.
No,
How
I
did you
was
how
like,
did you feel at that moment?
I was like, I mean, the nicest guy in the world. We're both flying out on different flights, and he stopped in front of me and he turned and looked, and I'm like, I wonder if I know this guy. And then he's like, are you Jonathan, the AI guy? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And then he's like, oh man, I've taken like three of your courses. I'm in your
Wow.
group, blah, blah, blah. Can we do a selfie? And it was cool and fun. But at the same point in time, I just don't see myself in that light. I'm simply sharing what I do. And I really fundamentally hope it doesn't change who I am. If you knew me 2 years ago and you know me today, I would hope that if the only difference might be that you go, yeah, Jonathan seems to have his poop in a group a little bit better. He seems a bit more organized. Well, that's because of AI. And other than that, I hope I haven't changed.
Well, mate, you come across incredibly grounded and sincere. And again, I'm a huge fan of your work. So as you're moving forward, Jonathan, the development here. Now, it would be remiss of me to get one of the world's leading AI experts on a call and not ask about your personal tech stack. Tell me
Sure.
about the tools that you've got, the daily use. For example, you're talking about creating that PDF in Manus. Why Manus, not ChatGPT? What are you using on a daily basis to accelerate your content and to drive your life?
Well, I'm probably going to bore you because the list isn't as long as people often think, and it really doesn't have any what I would call specialty tools in it. So all the ads you see on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and everything else for this new specialty tool, to the best of my knowledge, I don't use any of them. Um, so my more than anything else, I use ChatGPT. And the reason I use it very simply is I am absolutely a total fan for their custom GPT system. And that's, if you don't know what that is, it's very simply where I can train it on my data and have it, and then I can share those tools. And I love doing that. It's a great way to get people introduced to AI, and I absolutely love it. And ChatGPT is the only model that lets me share them in that manner. So absolutely adore that and love it to death. I use Google Gemini a lot lately. Now, I up until about 2 months ago, I thought Google was going to take a bye-bye and go, they were going to miss it because it appeared they had totally missed the AI window, that the products they'd put out were terrible. About 2 months ago, they came out with Gemini 2 and 2.5. That seems to have changed everything. It's all of a sudden, it's like, okay, these guys are serious now. So I use it a lot, particularly their deep research tool.
Hmm.
When I have to write content, I'm a huge fan of Claude. I love writing with Claude by Anthropic. And then other than that, from a graphics perspective, I'm a big fan of Midjourney. I love the
Got
creativity
Flux?
about it. I use it every day. I use Flux, but I only really if I'm trying to model an image. So if I've got like training that I want it to look like me, for example. So if I'm doing a selfie styled image, if I'm speaking at an event like I'm at Austin's event and Austin's like, hey, can you send me some selfies? Yeah, where do you want me to be and what do you want me to be wearing? Yeah, okay.
Nice.
We can literally create those, and that's great, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
The
cool.
area that the tool I probably use as much as anything else that nobody talks about is my AI note taker.
Mm,
Because I'm on meetings all day long and because I have ADD, the AI note taker to me is like my saving grace because it records and transcribes all the meetings that I'm on. And that means that I don't have to worry about taking notes and going, oh, hang on, well, I gotta just a minute, just a minute, just a minute.
yeah,
My note
right.
taking sucks anyway. Now I can just be me. We
Yeah.
can have a conversation, which is what I love. And at the end of it, I can feed that into ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever I want. And I can say, what did I promise Walt I was going to do? And it will tell me, and when it's done, and then I can make sure I get it taken care of. So that's
Mm.
probably the one tool that's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do without that. That would just totally transition things.
Do you know
But
it's
I
changed it
use
for me too?
AI all
Thanks to you.
day long. I mean,
Right.
it's not like, oh, I'm going to go use AI to do this or that. It's on my screen all day long. Two other apps I just got to mention really quick that I use literally either I or my team. One is Austin's app, Syllabi. Syllabi is
Yeah.
an incredible AI video tool. We use it daily to create videos for us for marketing and that type of stuff, and it's fantastic. And then the other tool that I absolutely adore and that has probably no business purpose, whatever. But I've found that creating music with AI is an absolute rush. I just love it. So I've
Fantastic.
never done anything with it business wise, but boy, it just brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that music was a big part of your life before, so combining those two things is a very clear passion. You mentioned the AI note taker. I have to again credit you during the Notebook LM training. One of your guests actually said or suggested Otter as an AI note taker going
Mhm.
to a conference. Using Otter to record every single session and then taking those transcriptions into Notebook LM and using that then as a right. So tell me about this conference. What are my good action steps? And I have to say, I just came back from the high level conference in Sydney where we were speaking there, and it was amazing. I literally used that strategy. Every single speaker on Otter into Notebook
Yep.
LM. Now that conference stays with me as I'm moving forward. But more than that, I was able to have an incredible meeting with an amazingly talented AI developer straight after the conference, right there in the lobby. And where I would have before turned up with a notepad and a pen and
Hmm.
started jotting things down, or turned up with an iPad and started typing it out as he's talking. I literally was able to put the phone on the table and talk, knowing that I'm not
Exactly.
missing a single thing. And then even this morning, jumping back into Auto, I didn't realize that it had a chat interface that I could then question that conversation and say, so
Hmm.
what was that resource that Andrew suggested? And it was, wow, that was amazing. So that's a huge thing for me. Exciting new tech coming through all the time. I mean, there's people that are out there on the cutting edge. Who are you following at the moment to stay ahead of that stuff?
There's a ton of people that I follow on a day-to-day basis, but none of them do I follow, meaning where I'm going to check their stuff out. I use a RSS feed service called Feedly, and I literally, so, I'm watching everything that Jeff's doing, and I'm watching everything that Austin's doing, and what Molly's doing, and what Onyx doing, and what all kinds of other people are. But it all comes in, and then it's all filtered in based on topic. So I see a lot of all their stuff because they're all leaders in the industry that I'm following. But the nice thing about it is I'm not having to go out and go, oh, hang on, I didn't visit and see what Jeff posted today. I don't have to go look for it. It all gets delivered directly to me. Then it gets filtered by AI based on topic, and then I get summaries of it all. So in the morning, one of my things I'm trying to do this year is walk more. And so in the morning when I go off for my walk, I can literally take that audio overview of all that stuff that came in the day before, and I get a 20 to 30 minute overview customized just for me. Now, it's
Fantastic.
not that I'm special, but I get to listen to what I want. I'm, for example, I'm not a big sports fan. I don't dislike sports, but I don't really care who's playing baseball this year. It just doesn't matter to me. So there's no baseball in my report, but there's tons of stuff about AI and new tools and entrepreneurship. And what's so cool is technology has existed, just like we were talking earlier about education and what can happen. The same holds true for us as adults. I can now listen to a news feed that is absolutely made up of the stuff that I've determined matter to me and in my life. And it may be totally different than what you listen to because it may be different things that we're interested in. And the reality is, we're basically combing that, we're bringing it together, we're picking and filtering. And then the cool thing with AI is, I can get this amazing back and forth podcast style review of that information that I can listen to, whether I'm driving, whether I'm walking, whatever I'm doing. And as a learner, it just is
Incredible.
amazing.
Absolutely. And I think the evolution of that is human thought acceleration, which is what we are talking about before, being
Oh,
able to
yes.
it's incredible the speed that now movement in human thought and what we can come up with and conceive is just going to be accelerated. So, Jonathan, I think if I can ask on the influencer side, and just for the listeners and for the people who are tuning in, creating this following is something as I mentioned before we hit record, 53% of children answer, I want to be an influencer, which is as a direct result of them engaging in content on demand and their interests.
Hmm.
Um, if you had to start again, now obviously you've got an incredible following that's been built over your passion in a particular subject. If you had to build that audience from scratch, what would be your, I guess, strategy to do that?
Don't focus on numbers, focus on adding value.
Mm,
If you add enough value, the people will come. But if you're focused on, I got to hit 100 subscribers, I got to get 200 subscribers. My YouTube channel is a great example of that. It's not massive. We're about 15, 16,000 followers. I certainly could be bigger. I've never really paid attention to what we're doing. I do pay attention to the likes and the comments and that type of stuff and the people that talk about my videos because I want to have them add value. Could we have a bigger audience if I worked on it? Probably. But I think we have a more engaged audience because of what we've done. And if you want to be an influencer, again, my advice, focus on how you can help others get the things they want in life. And if you
mm,
do that, you'll be able to get what you want. So,
mm.
you know, I my wife said I needed a new hobby, and I decided it'd be fun to buy a four-wheeler, a quad to ride around in the dirt. Hadn't done that in 30 plus years. I was able to do that because I help enough other people get what they want. It was cool.
And now you get to put a Starlink mount on the back of it.
We're gonna try that. Absolutely.
Give that a
I'm
shot.
gonna
I
I'm gonna
can't.
go out in the middle of nowhere and I'm gonna go, Walt,
How
I'm
are
out in
we?
the
How
middle
we
of the
doing?
wilderness, man. But
Let's
we're
have a let's
streaming.
have a look at that's so cool. It's like cutting edge AI from the middle of the wilderness. That'll be an episode I'd be happy to broadcast, man. So building content first builds the audience as a natural result of that. One of the things that you mentioned there was, of course, that you do pay attention to the likes and comments because that gives you lifetime feedback on how that
Exactly.
content is being received. Do you get affected by the comments? Like a lot of people in the influencer space have talked about the fact that there is so many people that you're instantly engaging with that the social impact of the commentary back and forth is something to be aware of. How do you deal with that on a
Mhm.
daily day basis? How is that how are you working with the people that are following you both in positive and negative terms?
Well, I think the positives are easy because, of course, it feeds you and it's easy and that's great. The biggest thing there in my mind is don't let it go to your head because if you're gone tomorrow, they're going to forget who you are. If I don't show up for a week, very few people are going to notice Jonathan didn't show up for a week. They may be responding because my stuff's getting in front of them, but they're not going to miss me if I go away, if that makes sense. So you got to be real about that. But the other part of it is you have to realize there are trolls in life that have nothing to do other than try to make your life miserable. And some of them are really good at it. And so you've got to get to that point, and it's hard. To this
Yeah.
day, if I get a snide comment or whatever, it's sometimes hard to get beyond that. But
Mm.
you've got to be able to develop that enough of a hard outer shell that you don't let the naysayers bother you. If you start seeing trends, maybe you need to pay attention to it. But, I get people all the time that, tell me, your beard, you could take care of your beard because my beard's not even now, it's not particularly groomed. That's me. If you don't like the fact that I haven't brushed my beard in the last 2 hours, that's not my problem and I'm not going to worry about it. But do I have people complain? Absolutely. And my response is typically if you don't like watching me, just turn off the video and listen. And if that's not any value, then why are you here?
Right. There it is.
And it's don't be worried about those people because they exist. They exist to try to make your life miserable. And if
Mm.
you let them, they'll do more of it. So just don't let them make your life miserable.
Interesting. I heard Anik actually say that don't was it Anik or was it Gary Vaynerchuk? I can't remember, but it was he was saying don't engage either way. Don't let the positive go to your head, as you mentioned. Don't let the
Exactly.
negative go to your head, which literally means don't engage either way. Create for you, create for the message. As you mentioned, you've got to be smart enough to go, hey, if there's a trend, I got to change. Like, that makes sense. But
Well,
on
yes and no, but also be true to yourself. I mean,
nice.
I have been railing on the education institution for how incredibly inept they're handling AI. And
Mm.
I don't make any bones about it. It's not that I don't like the AI, the education institution, but the institution, not necessarily the teachers, the institution, they're on the wrong side of this. They're going to lose, and it's going to hurt the institution of education worldwide, especially here in the US where I'm at. I know it's different in other countries, but it's woeful here in the US. I have
Mm.
a lot of people that are like, oh no, it's going to be fine. Yeah, it'll work out. Everything works out. But I have no problem, even though I have people that disagree with me, going, I'm sorry, I believe this is the case and I believe they're on the wrong side and I'm going to say it. It's
Yep.
just like I've got peers, some of whom you've interviewed, who are convinced that millions and millions of people are going to lose their jobs. Millions and millions of people may change jobs. I'll buy that. But they're all portraying it as it's the end of the world. We're going to be destitute. We're not going to have anything to do. I don't believe that to be the case. Every major technological shift that we've had has brought with it more opportunity than what's been left in the dust. And
Mm.
AI will do the same thing. We can't even imagine the opportunities that'll exist in 90 days that we're not aware of, let alone 2 or 3 years down the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not to disagree with you, but yes, you want to listen, but you also want to be true to yourself because
That's it.
I think one of the fastest ways to, one, let it go to your head, and two, to lose a following is to not be genuine. You've got to
Yeah.
be honest and genuine with who you are. And that means sometimes people won't like the position you take, and that's okay. Accept the other people, that's fine, but you can stand by what you believe in.
Amazing. Amazing. Boys and girls. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for tuning in. Jonathan, I just have to say that as a leader in this space, you really are cutting the path forward, and I appreciate you. That even that commentary there about staying true to yourself, staying true to your values, staying true to the message that you're trying to create, not creating content for the vanity metrics of the numbers, but creating it for the value that is being delivered out to the community. So, on behalf of a member of that community, I want to say thank you to you for leading that way, for making that available. So, guys, follow along with Jonathan. He is genuinely one of the nicest guys, but also the leaders and the teachers in the AI space. Certainly, as an influencer, creating a message of genuine value out into the space. So, I dropped a couple of links there before. Of course, jonathanmast.com personal site. You can find out a little bit more about Jonathan and the man himself in terms of the content and in terms of the AI strategies. Of course, the Facebook group, AI Prompts for Entrepreneurs. I'm sure you'll find it as soon as you type in AI in Facebook. It'll be the first one that comes up. But you can also follow along at Whitebeard Strategies, which is where you can, whitebeardstrategies.com, which is Jonathan's business portal, where you can come and get the courses and the GPTs and the incredible AI tools and resources and trainings that Jonathan and the team are creating. Jonathan, again, thank you so much for taking the
Well,
time,
thank
coming
you.
and sitting on the screen and sharing what you're doing and how it's affecting your life. I'm just super, super, super grateful for your time, man.
Well, I'm excited, and I tell you, we're going to do the Starlink one from the middle of nowhere someday.
Hell
Give me a little
yeah.
bit of time to get it figured out, but that'll be fun.
That'll be absolutely amazing, and I can't wait. So, guys, if you're tuning in for that episode, make sure you come and find the video version because we want to see that backdrop in all its glory from the top of somewhere remote with that Starlink tech right on the back. Jonathan, again, thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to see what's coming next from you. I'll be certainly tuning in and keep in touch, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.